when I first started doing comedy, I was a white comedian, I still am, working on the black comedy circuit. And I used to get my shoes at Payless, the Adidas, but they have that extra stripe. People call them doo-doos, you know. So my first gig is to open for this group, the Fugees, out in Newark, New Jersey. So I'm very excited to open for the Fugees. And I clean my doo-doos with a toothbrush, and I go out there. Now, here's the thing. Nobody has told this crowd there's going to be comedy before the show. And this crowd just wants to see the Fugees. Everybody's Haitian, and it's getting belligerent. People hate me. Like, there's a voodoo doll of me getting passed around, like Serpent in the Rainbow Dust getting blown. You know, Jean Ponte au toilette, I'm getting heckled. And it's just horrible. And finally, I hear this guy heckling. It's from the dark. I hear this guy heckling. And I kind of look through the dark, and all I can see is this guy has a really big head. So I start making fun of the head, and people are laughing. I'm like, oh, look at that head. Probably takes you like an hour to change your mind. I got a lot of head jokes, right? And everybody's like, Jean Ponte au toilette. So the guy comes out of the dark, and I realize he's a midget. And I know that's not the right word. He's a little person, like a compact individual. Younger, so like a kidget. So he... And he keeps heckling me. He keeps heckling. He's like, you're corny. I'm like, well, maybe my jokes are just going over your head. You know, people are laughing, right? Oh, the crowd's getting sensitive again. All right. So he runs up on stage and just attacks me. I mean, my leg. You know, he's swinging on my leg, and I'm holding him off, and I keep making jokes. That's all I can do. I'm like, this guy's got a short temper, right? People's like, ah! Everybody's laughing. You know. So he, finally, they carry him out of there like a keg. The security comes and just carries him out of there. And after that, I was very sensitive. I was a little scared of little people. You know, they're volatile. So I get a call from this manager, and he's like, look, this dude wants to put you in this Puerto Rican gangster movie called Illegal Tender. He wants you to play this guy Cesar, who's a hitman. I'm like, I don't have to audition or nothing? He's like, no. I'm like, how did this happen? He said something about the doo-doos and fighting a midget or whatever. So this guy was there that night, and he remembered me, right? So he's like, it's 3 weeks on this movie. And I'm like, and he plays this hitman named Cesar, and Puerto Rican. And I'm like, here's the thing, you know, I'm Jewish, I'm not Puerto Rican. He's like, don't say anything. He's like, the character doesn't say anything, so you don't say anything. So I'm like, okay. So I show up the first day, and it's really awkward, because everybody's Puerto Rican in this movie. And there's this one guy named Manny, who's in every Puerto Rican movie. And he puts the actors together in a huddle. He's like, there's not a lot of opportunity for Latinos in Hollywood, you know, because the Jews control everything, right? And I'm sitting there like, see. I'll sell out in a minute, right? So, but it's a very stressful time, you know. So I'm not talking. I don't want to out myself, you know. And people, and there are two factions of people with the actors. Like, well, some guys are like, why doesn't Cesar say anything? He's stuck up. He's from Argentina or something. Other people are like, no, Cesar's a method actor. His character doesn't say anything, so he doesn't say anything. You know, so I'm having dreams. I'm like in Puerto Rican court, you know, bringing the Cesar, you know. And I call my brother. He's married to a Colombian. I'm like, dude, do you have any words? He's like, say coño. So I'm walking around, coño. Everybody's like, it's a bad word. Everybody's like, Cesar's got Tourette's or whatever. So. That's the first week, very stressful. So the second week, I'm chilling out with this girl. I don't remember her name, but I called her mad because every sentence she said had the word mad in it. She's like, yo, that's mad stupid. Or, yo, this is mad delicious. And it was the summertime. So she goes, yo, it's mad hot, like one of those Holocaust saunas. And I was trying to explain that wasn't a sauna situation, you know. It's just like exfoliate and it's nice and just take a shower to relax. And she got mad. So finally, we're going to Puerto Rico, and I'm very excited to go there. I've never been there. You know, we're shooting the last week in Puerto Rico. It's going to be great. So we go. I look online. There's this commercials with Raul Julia, Puerto Rico, with the chica, with the grande teta, bang, bang. Oh, this is going to be a fabulous place. Wherever that was, that's not where we were at. Like, the plane lands. This little Scooby-Doo bus picks us up and drives us up to the projects, right, where we're shooting. And there's no security on set. And there's dudes circling the set to rob stuff. There's a guy with a baby carriage with no baby. Again, it's got Lucy cigarettes, beer, and a prosthetic leg laid across the top with a flip-flop, like a chacleta thing on the end of it. So, like, modeling the flip-flop, like you could wear this, boom, or whatever. I'm trying to figure out, like, how it works, how to, you know, operate a flip-flop for those who are challenged. So I'm like, why does he have the leg? Because everything's for sale. And I see another guy try and steal one of the the beers, and a dude takes a leg, starts beating the shit out of him. Like, that would be a great commercial for Puerto Rico. Don't test the cerveza, and the fucking chocolate that goes flying off. Anyway, that's what I think about during the day, stuff like that. So I'm chilling out with this Manny guy, and the Manny guy has been hit on by this gay makeup artist, right? And the Manny guy confides in me. You know, he's like, the makeup artist, he always want to put the makeup on my face, and I don't want it. I need the makeup, I don't need it. You know, and I think he wants my dick, you know, but I don't go that way. And he's like, but he is Latino, and I am Latino, and you are Latino, and that is all that matters, right? And I'm like, look, man, I gotta tell you something. He's like, what? And I'm like, I'm not Puerto Rican. He's like, no, not even a little bit. I'm like, no. He's like, you look more Puerto Rican than anybody in the movie. I'm like, see. So he's quiet for a minute, and he's like, I'm not Puerto Rican either. I'm like, what? It's like, no, I'm Dominican, but don't tell anybody, because that's like the Capulets and the Montagues, you know. Some guys have socks, some guys don't, you know. I can only do that part in New York. Nowhere else in the world is that funny except Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic. So the movie comes out, 4 people see this movie, right? I'm back to doing what I do, stand-up, and I'm in Indiana doing a shit gig somewhere in Indiana. And I'm done with the show, and I'm waiting for the car to take me to the hotel. It's pouring rain, and another little person comes up to me, and I'm like, ugh. And I'm a little gun shy. Even, you know, 8, 9 years later, I'm a little gun shy. But this guy was hilarious. He was the funniest person I've ever met. You know, everything out of his mouth was hilarious. Like, first he comes up to me, and he's like, hey, man, I'm your biggest fan. Boom. I'm like, dude, you're funny, right? And, and he's like, man, I've been partying. I'm like, where have you been drinking? He's like, the mini bar. Boom. I'm like, this guy's fucking hilarious, right? And I'm like, why are you so drunk, man? He's like, I broke up with my girl. I'm like, what happened? She's like, she kept trying to micromanage me. I'm like, this dude's a genius. He's a genius. So I'm like, we're hanging out. So we go to a bar, we're partying, you know, he's drinking beer out of a shot glass, you know, and he's got little legs hanging off the chair. It's great, man. And he's like, listen, man, I came out here because I'm an artist, and I made you a gift, and I came out here, I'm a big fan of yours and everything, from the movie and all this stuff, but I made you this gift. So he breaks out this T-shirt. On the front of it is a picture of me with a gun, from like a still from the movie, superimposed on a bed of romaine lettuce, right? And he's like, what do you think about that? I'm like, that's very creative. And he flips it around and he's like, what do you think about this? And on the back it says Cesar salad. I'm like, dude, you're hilarious. You're just hilarious, right? And he's like, you know why I made you that gift? I'm like, why'd you make me that gift, man? He's like, because years ago, my brother-in-law was heckling you, and you got him thrown out of a show. He's a little person. He married my sister, who was another little person. And, you know, this is kind of like a little peace offering or whatever. I'm like, that's crazy, right? Here I am in Indiana, years later, with this little person, who knows, who's related to that little person in Newark, who married the other little person. And he's like, that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. He looks at me, he's like, it's a small world. And he walks off, right?